Hello everyone, my name is Adeline Spears and welcome back to another AWX weather forecasting video. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down the multi-day severe weather outbreak that is about to occur today and tomorrow. So buckle up, we have got a lot of details to cover, you best believe me. So let's get into the forecasting video. So we're going to be looking at the Storm Prediction Center's Day 1 outlook first. Happy April Fool's Day, by the way. And we have got a large enhanced risk to talk about today, starting all the way from northern Texas, getting into central Oklahoma, well up into Missouri as well, so even into Illinois and Kentucky. So we've got a lot of states in this enhanced risk and the bases are loaded. So let's get into the category by category breakdown. Starting off with our tornado risk, we have got that 10% hatch risk starting from the northeastern corner of Oklahoma, getting into central and south central Missouri as well. So the threat for a couple of tornadoes, some being strong, is definitely there today. And that's not the only threat. We're dealing with this damaging wind threat as well. That 30% risk is extending in the enhanced risk as well. So damaging winds and tornadoes are huge threats today. But maybe even the most eye-catching would be this hail threat. We have that 30% hatched risk. That significant severe just adds another layer on top of this risk, meaning whatever hail falls could be 2 inches or greater in diameter, categorizing it as potentially destructive hail. So it's vital that you already have your severe weather safety plan today for the tornadoes, wind, and even the hail. Make sure you have a way to safely cover or park your cars. Even parking garages work. Just try to protect your property before these nasty storms move through. So now we're going to look at our severe weather timing map. So we're going to be looking at 3 of the largest cities in this risk area today. So St. Louis, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Springfield, Missouri. So we'll go top to bottom, starting with St. Louis first. It's going to be smooth sailing pretty much all day until we get into the nighttime hours. This is going to be a 100% nocturnal threat for the St. Louis metro area. In fact, those storms are not even going to make it in the vicinity of the metro area until 11 p.m. So your time frame for storms would be 11 p.m. to about 1 to 2 a.m. So make sure you have multiple reliable ways to receive warnings tonight if you're in St. Louis, as these storms are going to be moving through while you're already in bed and probably asleep. So we're going to bump all the way down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they're going to be getting these storms a lot sooner than St. Louis and Springfield. Again, most of the day is going to be pretty calm, smooth sailing, no storms, no rain probably, until we get into the evening hour. So right about dinner time is when that probability for thunderstorms spikes all the way up to about 90%. And this is when that nasty line of storms or round of storms is going to move through. These storms are going to be packing that chance for a potentially strong tornado, damaging winds, and very large hail. So we've got that round of storms will be moving through the Tulsa, Oklahoma area from the 6 to 8 p.m. range. Now, all the way down, last but not least, Springfield, Missouri, college town of Springfield, Missouri. They're right on the edge of that 10% hatch risk, and similarly to St. Louis, they're not going to be seeing those storms until after dark. We'll have a pretty calm day up until about 10 p.m. is when things are going to begin to pick up. The storms are going to start to move through, and these are going to be packing similar threats to Tulsa, that potential strong tornado, damaging wind gusts, and very large hail. So I hope this infographic breaks it down, but unfortunately, the risk doesn't end there. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, this is a multi-day severe weather outbreak, so We've got more storms tomorrow as well. All right, we have our day 2 outlook by the Storm Prediction Center pulled up here, and we have another enhanced risk, that 3 out of 5 risk for tomorrow. This is extending all the way from extreme northern Mississippi, extreme northern Alabama, getting all the way up into middle Tennessee and all the way up into central and northern Kentucky as well. Now this time around, we've got that tornado and hail driven risk. The wind threats kind of backed off a little bit for tomorrow, but I wouldn't be surprised if it picks back up again in that day 1 outlook. So starting off with our tornado threat, we have it at 10% for middle Tennessee getting up into central Kentucky. This is not a hatched risk like we have today, just a simple 10% tornado threat. It's not very often that we just see that 10% exist by itself, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an upgrade to a hatched risk tomorrow. But we cannot disregard this 5 and 2% risk that surrounds it as well. So tornadoes are going to be another prevalent risk tomorrow, similarly to today's threat. Now, like I mentioned before, that wind threat is not a huge issue tomorrow, but if we could see it get upgraded, but that's just not the main risk for tomorrow's event. Now, hail. Hail is another problem. If I sound like a broken record, hail has been a huge issue in the past severe weather outbreaks, even ones 1 to 2 months ago. And one of the reasons why we're seeing such large hail threats today and tomorrow is because these are pretty low wind shear events, meaning we're not seeing as much spin in the atmosphere as we would other events. So these are not significant tornado-driven events at all. We're looking at a pretty large and significant hail threat instead. So here, this is our day 2 risk. Here's a little threat bar infographic. So we're going to be looking at a medium tornado threat, a high hail threat, because again, we have that 30% risk, and then a medium wind threat as well. This just kind of pulls everything what I was just talking about together. So this is going to close out this AWX weather forecasting video. I apologize, it's not up to my typical quality. I'm pretty rushed. I haven't had a lot of time to be covering the weather lately. I've had a pretty hectic week and you wouldn't even believe it. So stay weather aware, stay hyper weather aware really, because these are pretty significant, nasty, potentially damaging storms that are going to be moving through the central U.S., the Midwestern U.S. tonight, and then portions of the East Coast tomorrow. So I'm going to be continuing updates today, and tomorrow I'll even have live coverage going tomorrow potentially, as these storms will be impacting my area of northwestern Georgia. So stay safe, stay weather aware, and have a great start to the new month of April.